Welcome to part 2 of What If There Wasn't a Bigger Fish. If you haven't seen part 1, I recommend you watch that first before watching this video. The link will be in the description below. Dooku immediately adopted the Makashi stance, mirrored by Qui-Gon. Although Qui-Gon normally favoured the Form 4 Ataru, he knew Dooku would be able to find his weaknesses easily. Anakin got up, diverting his attention away from Senator Amidala, and back to Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan also got up, as he recovered from the shock of seeing Qui-Gon choke Anakin, and he ignited his own blue lightsaber, which he lunged at Anakin. Whilst Anakin was extremely talented, Obi-Wan could sense his force signature was rough and unpolished, as he fended off Anakin's Gem-So attacks with relative ease. Finally disarming Anakin, a group of several Jedi Knights took Anakin away to a holding cell, as Obi-Wan ran towards a struggling Qui-Gon. Whilst Qui-Gon was an experienced duelist, his rustiness began to show, and with an accurate stab, Dooku disarmed his former apprentice. Before Dooku was able to deal the killing blow, he was suddenly thrown back. Obi-Wan looked above, and he saw several Republic-attacked gunships descending upon the Petranaki arena, with Master Yoda at the front of the squadron, his arm outstretched. The gunships rescued the remaining Jedi and Senator Amidala, but Dooku manages to free Anakin and escape. Once back on Coruscant, Qui-Gon stood in front of the Jedi Council once more, telling the tale of the previous decade of events. Qui-Gon recounts the bravery of the Gungan Jar Jar Binks, who had sacrificed himself for Qui-Gon, whilst in an underwater melee with Naboo's sea creatures. But rather than descend to the surface of Naboo, the Force told Qui-Gon that this was not the way forward, rather to head back to Gungan City and return the body of Jar Jar. Using his Jedi endurance, Qui-Gon manages to make it to Gungan City, just before running out of air, whilst carrying Jar Jar. As he re-entered Oto Gunga, he was met by gasps of those who saw Jar Jar's body. Heading back to Boss Nass, the Gungan let Qui-Gon borrow another Bongo submarine as he headed back to the surface of Naboo. Once on Naboo, the Force once again prodded him to not reconvene with the Jedi Council, but to head to the Wellsprings of Life. Qui-Gon is guided to a nebula, and enters an atmosphere of golden gas, which is illuminated by the planet's sparkling geysers. Tumbling onto the surface, Qui-Gon is surprised to find he is surrounded by plant life and various creatures, who are trundling around serenely. Qui-Gon is even more surprised to find several masked figures drifting towards him peacefully. Introducing themselves as the priestesses, they describe to Qui-Gon how the planet was a nexus of the light side of the Force, and how they were the bridge between the living Force and the cosmic Force. Going through the 5 trials, Qui-Gon eventually learned the path to immortality. But yet again, the Force tells Qui-Gon that his journey is incomplete. The priestesses tell Qui-Gon to remain on the planet for the foreseeable future, until they had taught him all they knew about the Force. After a decade, Qui-Gon's training was complete, as he headed back out of the Wellspring of Life. Qui-Gon ends his tale by telling the Council how the Force had guided him again, this time to Geonosis, sensing Obi-Wan was in danger and needed Qui-Gon's help. The Council were astonished by Qui-Gon's tale, apart from Obi-Wan, who must use all of his Jedi techniques to not lash out at his master for abandoning him, as he stood beside him. Yoda dismissed the session and asked Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to go to his quarters. Once there, the trio discussed in further detail what Qui-Gon had learnt, as Obi-Wan's anger cooled upon hearing his master's immense feats with the Force. He was now keen to learn from his master again. Meanwhile, Dooku has reconvened back to the planet of Serena with Anakin. Walking between the tall stone pillars that line his fortress, Dooku reflected upon the encounter with his old Padawan. He sensed Qui-Gon having a stronger affinity with the Force than he had seen before, almost seeming to be one with the Force. But where had he been for the past decade? Surely he or his master would have sensed such a shift in the Force. How could Qui-Gon have left him in his moment of need? Dooku's eyes narrowed in anger, as he let out a wave of Force lightning at Anakin, who writhed in pain, as Dooku told Anakin to not be hesitant next time, or the punishment would be more severe. Dooku knew that Sidious was using him as a means to an end, whilst Anakin became more powerful. But after seeing Qui-Gon, Dooku had other ideas. That is it for part 2 of What If There Wasn't a Bigger Fish. If you'd like to see a part 3, please like this video and subscribe for more tips, And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.